Hey everybody, Glowplasma231 here. Just a quick note about today's Chainsaw Man episode. It is coming out really late, and there are a bunch of delays and a few things that we talk about in the episode itself today. But during the recording of the episode, my phone died right whenever we ended it, so the file ended up getting corrupted. But I was able to save most of it into 44 30-second time slots, right? I haven't messed around with them too much. I mean, these things aren't even in order, so it's just I'm going to have to go through, try to match everything up, and try to get the conversation that me and Jaden had about today's episode in a good, coherent way. If it sounds really bad and everything, I'm sorry, but I'm going to try to get what I can put out there and try to make something enjoyable for the few of you who actually want to hear the Chainsaw Man reviews. Listen to it. So yeah, sorry, just a brief note on that, and have a good day, and here's the episode. Hello everybody, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Chainsaw Man episode reviews. And today, it's cold out. It's like very cold out, and it'll only be getting colder.
And 8 in the morning. Exactly.
It'll be getting colder, like Jaden's opinion of this series.
Yeah. It has. It's kind of colder as it's going on, yeah.
So, yeah. Today, it's very early. Sorry for getting this video out, 3 days late. Really late. We've tried to record in a few different ways, being how scheduling works. It hasn't worked, fun fact. So, we're here now. I'm going to try to get it done. So, yeah.
Holidays are rough, man.
Yep, Jaden's here with me.
Yep.
And today, we are going to start off with all of our important information. This episode covers chapters 31.9 to 35.4 of the manga.
I'm really glad.
So about 3.5 chapters.
Very accurate track of this stuff, down to the decimal point.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. And the episode is titled Mission Start.
Okay.
So, this episode starts off where it ended last time. Aki went devil shopping.
Yep.
And he got introduced to the Future Devil. And we see that the Future Devil is this eye, but then it's got fur around it, and it's this big tree-looking dude.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite designs in the series.
It is. And whenever a Future Devil appears, it just says, Mirai, Psycho! Mirai, Psycho! Mirai, Psycho! Which translates roughly to the future rules.
Yep.
So this was that big comedy point that we were talking about last time, and so I've got very mixed feelings on this. I feel like I was expecting it to be way more just overdone and a lot funnier.
Yeah,
but I think
dramatic.
it really hardens it by being at the beginning of an episode this time, right?
Yeah, I think the directional point with the voice acting that they did makes sense to put at the beginning of the episode than the last one. Because last time we were very upset that they didn't have it, but it would have ruined the tone.
It may have, but it was still good, and Mirai, Psycho, Mirai, Psycho.
And the Future Devil speaks with a very certain dialect, from what I've heard from people who watch the show and speak Japanese. That also makes it even funnier. He basically talks like a street gangster.
Yeah, I can totally see that. At this point, we get the opening kicked back by Kenshi Yonzu. After last episode's realization. We went for 9 episodes with that, Jane.
I wonder if for the last episode they'll do something like how JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does, where the last episode of each season or part has a special version with sound effects and whatnot.
Well, okay, here's the thing. So, during Jump Fest today, talked about, all of the openings and all the endings, right? Spoil it now. We know that the next episode's ending will be Eve.
Finally.
So,
I thought they'd save it for last.
But here's the interesting thing. It really seems from what they were saying and what we've seen throughout the show, it seems like the opening was always meant to be kicked back, but the ending before everything went on was supposed to be 200,000 centimeter long blades. From what they said and how it was worded, and also how we've seen it used throughout the series, it really seems like it was supposed to be that ending before we got a lot of good things. And the ending of this episode isn't half bad.
Okay.
Pretty good. But yeah, opening, all that stuff, and we cut back to Future Devil and Aki, and Aki's like, I'm here to make a contract with you. And the Future Devil's like, man, you got a shitty fucking attitude.
Yeah, the Future Devil he does not care.
No, Future Devil's like, come on, man, just, have fun with us, right? At this point, he says, all right, well, to find out our contracts, you have to stare into my gut. So Aki does this.
It's very strange.
Yep, and he sort of just looks into this all-seeing eye in front of Future Devils, and the Future Devil's just, boogieing around him.
Yeah, it's
right?
so weird.
He's just dancing like he's getting off from it. And at this point, he pulls off and he says, okay, here are the terms. I live in your right eye, and we're done. And Aki's...
It is the least invasive devil contract. There's no downsides.
No, and Aki's like, and what? And Future's like, you think I'm like joking? No, you're going to die in a terrible way. I can't wait to see it.
He said, your future rules, man.
So, pretty much, Aki says, hey, get in my eye. Future Devil now has a contract for Aki, and it lives in Aki's eye.
Yeah, and he says, do you want to know how you're gonna die? You're gonna just get in.
Yeah.
So the Future Devil nearly spoiled the entire series.
Hey, yeah, we're just gonna go from there. We cut now Dinjin power training as they just got the shit beat out of them by Kishubei. Kishubei's just like, hey, you guys had some good moves that time. You guys are getting a whole lot better. We're going to start moving this less regularly, for real this time, right? And then he mentions that tomorrow you guys will actually have to use your powers into raid. And of course, this is the raid on the Snake Woman and Katana Devil, which actually, he's actually called Samurai Sword.
Really?
Yeah. His real, like, localized name and, like, what they even call him in the anime, he is Samurai Sword.
Okay.
Not Katana Devil, but...
I feel like Samurai Sword feels like a JoJo localization.
Yeah, but Katana Devil's his core, so Satoru and Katana Devil. Denji's like, well, hey, you know what? That sounds good. But Kishubei's like, hey, remember now, if we fail this, you guys are gonna have to die. And Denji's like, you know what? I'll give you some mercy since you made me stronger. I can kill devils and I can hook up with Makima. At this point, we cut to Makima and Kishubei. They're drinking out, I'm presuming, Kishubei's place.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's like something like that.
It
might be a public area.
I'm pretty sure it was like the Squad 1 barracks because on the door there was a flag that had the kanji for one, right?
Yeah.
I think.
It's just a line, right?
Yeah, it's just like the line of like the fancy ends on it. So I think that's one. Makima sort of talks to Kishubei, and Kishubei pretty much gets on that, hey, I'm too attached to those guys. I can't let them die. And he also makes a note of, hey, you knew that all of this and the gun stuff was going to happen. And he makes this note of, I don't care what you're planning. And Makima's like, hey, I got shot too. And Kishubei's like, I don't know what you're planning. You're alive now because you are serving mankind's interests. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I feel like the anime is really portraying Makima as a antagonistic figure in a way.
They really
are. A lot more than the manga did.
Yeah, at this point in the series. Spoil anything, but probably spoils a whole lot.
We'll go into spoilers in a second, because it is important.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about a few spoilers at the end of this episode.
All right.
So, we'll get to it. So, he's like, you get a pass as long as you serve mankind, and we then cut to where Samurai Sword, or Katana Devil, this is his name, right? It's like in my Hero Academia reviews, Shigaraki, no, all for one Shigaraki.
Yep.
All of the Akis that have this massive unease going on, and they make note of this zombie army downstairs.
Yeah, which was made from the first episode by that one devil, correct?
Yep, zombie devil.
Yep.
And interesting note, we can see that the devil's effects are still lasting even after the devil is dead. This interesting thing to note there that I didn't really realize on the first read through, but that sort of makes a whole lot of sense with spoilers, of course.
Okay.
All right. So pretty much, the zombie army, figure out about that. So pretty much then we get Kurose and Tendo, the two people from Kyoto, coming, and Aki's in the back of the car, right? And Kurose pretty much calls Aki out, like, hey man, why are you doing this? Right? Nobody asked you to go kill the gun devil, and you're stupid. You're not going to beat it. I hope you know that. Me and Tendo here, our families were murdered by the gun devil. We're not going to go out to kill it. That's suicide. You're stupid. And Aki's just like, I don't care. I don't have time to live to deal with this.
Yep.
I'm going to try, right? He gets out of the car and he's like, hey, thank you guys for getting me here and thanks for helping me out. He starts to walk up. Kurose gets out of the car, throws a mechanic cola, and is like, hey man, you may piss me to fuck off, but I'm rooting for you.
Okay, so I just want to know something. The cola can that he throws here. Now, I don't know if this is accurate to 90s Japan. I'd have to look into it. But for some reason, it's very long and thin. And doesn't look shaped like Coke.
It's the same way in the manga. It's that same size.
It just looks weird. So for this episode, we got the bad cola CGI. I think that's what you should do.
Shut up about my thumbnails. I'm sorry.
Hey, they're good.
I've got some friends, and they really find all of the no CGI, bad CGI funny.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's great. You need to have no cola CGI?
No.
But
this episode's already got its thumbnail made.
I mean, unfortunately, that's like the only note I have for this entire episode is the cola looks stupid.
Yeah, so at this point, we see that Makima walks in and talks to the Yakuza. Right, she talks to the Yakuza guys. This is a different Yakuza, like a gang base out in the country somewhere. It's not like the actual, like, Satuari and all of them, right? She talks to the guy, and the Yakuza boss is like, hey, yeah, I'll let you know what I know. I know my friends mess you up, and whatever happens, then happens to him, right? He's like, this lady Satuari is the one who it's all going off of, right? We think she has a contract with Snake Devil, and we know the deal that they made for all the guns. 20,000 yen in exchange for guns and ammo.
Which, in today's money, is about $200, but I'm sure
back then,
it was a little
because this
more.
is what, 1992, 3?
Around that time, yeah, 90s.
Yeah, it's early 90s, I'm pretty sure. So at this point, Makima was like, hey, write all of the names down here of all of these people that in your company that have contract with the devil. And he's like, yeah, sure, just throw them in a slammer, give them something to think about. I don't want those boys really messing up their lives.
Which I think is cool because we know Makima's going to kill them. We know how she uses her power with the names.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty interesting detail.
And then at this point, she's like, all right, and everybody else you know who is a contract. And he's like, I can't do that. If anybody found out, there'd be gang warfare. I do a necessary evil. If the Japanese mob dies, the Chinese and Soviets come in, and they're 100,000 times worse than us.
Yeah, which honestly is, to a sense, historically accurate, because the Yakuza did protect Japan a good amount.
Yeah.
And there were many times when there were, like, hurricanes and tsunamis and stuff, and the Yakuza supported people before the government got to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is pretty accurate.
It's a necessary evil. But Makima says here in a second, you guys aren't a necessary evil. Who cares? We learn here that Makima is really pro-government. Yeah. Right? Like, she works for...
Well, of course she is.
Yeah. As she pulls out this bag, and she says, hey, if you don't want to comply, well, then I guess I'll have to show you these. It's all of your brothers, mothers, wives, daughters, sons, every single family member you have. And she pulls out this bag of eyes and sets it on the table. The anime cut down on these eyes, and the manga is just a bag full of them.
Full of them?
Full.
You're right. I do remember that, yeah.
And here, it's just like...
There's like 10.
Yeah, there's not many, maybe a half dozen. And at this point, this guy comes around and is like, you bitches, he starts to punch her as he starts to get this bloody nose, and his eyes roll back, and blood starts dripping out of his eyes as he falls to the ground, right? We cut to the big building where the raid is going to be happening, and we see that there's some cops outside talking, right? We see that Katana and Satuari are taking in all of this data, right? They're like, okay, cops have us all surrounded. I hear they're going to let Special Division 4 come in, and Katana's like, I'm going to kill that bastard Denji, right? There's also a note here of back outside. We've got Denji, Power, and Kobeni who are all standing there, and Denji and Power are like, we're smarter. We're going to beat him now. Right, as Kobeni's like, oh no.
I want to go home.
I want to go home, right? As Denji and Power just like, we got the brains now. We're gonna beat them. We're smart. At this point, Aki walks up to Kishibe and is like, hey, what's the plan? And Kishibe's like, there is no plan. I'm throwing you guys in there, and you guys are coming out one way or the other.
Yeah.
Right? And as all of these guys start to walk in, Kishibe stays outside, and some cops walk up to him. And at this point, we get maybe my favorite point of explanation ever. It's like, nobody would actually do this. You just hand him a report. But Kishibe is just like, alright, here's the thing. The Special Division 4 is composed of almost entirely non-humans. As he goes to start talking about them, we learn about the Shark Fiend. A fiend that can pretty much swim through walls and everything. And he can turn into his devil form for a little while, because if you remember, all fiends have weirdly shaped heads.
Okay, so he has the ability Diver Down. Got it.
He's got the swim fruit from One Piece.
Okay. By the way, this is voiced by Zenitsu's voice actor.
Yeah.
And I searched everywhere for the Future Devil's voice actor, couldn't find it. Really? I still don't know who it is, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so, but also the Shark Fiend, as we'll learn later, is named Beam.
I love Beam.
Beam is, it's such a funny name. At this point, we meet the Violence Fiend, who wears a plague mask.
Yeah, the Violence Fiend's not my favorite.
And there's a note that the mask puts in poison, so he won't be as strong.
Yeah.
Interesting note there. We'll learn later, of course, that Corbin and the Violence Fiend sort of get a relationship together.
It's pretty ironic that they use poison inside the mask when the Plague Doctor mask were used to keep it out.
Yeah. At this point, we have the Spider Devil, who looks like a very humanoid devil, right? But can grow massive spider legs.
Yep.
And it's got like the seam coming down the face. Right, not a whole lot known about Spire Devil.
Strange.
Angel Devil. A devil that can siphon your lifespan if you even touch it.
Everybody was waiting for Angel because he's gay for Aki.
Yeah. I'm almost certain that whenever most people see Angel, they're like, oh, that's a girl.
Yeah.
Angel's not. Angel's a dude.
I mean, that's kind of the point. But everybody ships Aki and the Angel Devil.
They do. And, of course, we see this because Angel Devil has a head roll over towards its foot. It picks it up, takes a bite, and goes over to Aki like, hey, can I have a handkerchief? Aki hands one, and she's like, oh. Or he is like, hey, you got really close to me. And Aki's like, do I look like I care?
Yeah.
I'm going to die in like 9 months anyway. I'm fine. Or was it 2 years? I forget.
2 years, yeah.
2 years. But Aki's just like, they've got a little relationship, and Aki commands Angel to go around and do some menial chores, right? As Aki says, all right, hey, didn't you power me? Let's all go split up and try to murder people. At this point, we see Aki goes to floor 4. As he goes up, guy comes out with a gun. He pretty much gets that one guy with a gun. As 4 more dudes hop out, and they all start to have the same nosebleed, and their eyes roll over, right? So at this point, they all collapse, and Aki's like, oh, what's going on here? And at this point, after guys get nosebleeds, we see Makima walking out of the Yakuza place.
Was that seen in the manga?
It was.
It was?
I checked. So yeah, that happens, and at this point, we see that Aki meets Satoari, right? Satoari says, snake, spit it out, as we see one of her nails, like, crumble in real time.
Very strange.
Visual. Yeah, but we sort of notice that that's what Snake Devil wants. And Snake spits out the Ghost Devil, right? There's a massive fight where Aki is... This is, like, 3 panels in the manga, which is really expanded on, which isn't bad. And at this point, we get an explanation by the Future Devil. I live in Aki's eye, and he can see the future. But that's it. Nothing more.
So he has the stand-up ability Epitaph.
So yeah, he can go back and see. He can see into the future a little bit, and we see him like dodge a few things.
And this scene is actually pretty well animated.
Yeah, there's no CGI here.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Ghost Devil's first appearance is CGI, but then after that, all of the arms and everything isn't.
It looks quite nice.
Yeah. Aki gets overwhelmed, and he starts to get choked as the episode ends, and we get the ending. Violence, fire.
Yeah, the song is literally Violence.
It's called Violence. By Queen Bee.
The CG is actually really nice. It looks quite good.
Jaden, this was all animated by one guy.
Really?
One dude.
If you watch Love is War, the song My Nonfiction was done by one guy as well. Like some amateur 19-year-old.
Yeah. This entire ending was done by one guy.
That's pretty cool.
I think this is my favorite visually. It's really good.
It's one of up there. I think it's up there with the third ending with Power.
That's fourth.
I think that's my favorite visuals.
Yeah, I think whenever we talk about all of the endings and rank them, it's going to be a little hard. Because how are we going to do this? Are we going to do it by like just songs, or just what we hear in the anime, by full songs? Or are we going to do it with visuals, without visuals?
I think we just need to rank the visuals and the music of what we see in the show.
Because that's bad. Because I've downloaded every song and I've listened to the full versions of each.
Okay.
So... yeah, so not bad episode. What do you think of this one overall?
This episode it's more Chainsaw Man, which I personally don't like. I just think it's all over the place, a little ridiculous. And by the way, Corbin was telling me that, what's the author, Fujimoto?
Yeah.
He said upon rewatching the anime, he realized there were plot points he completely forgot about.
Yeah, this was another thing, because I stayed up and watched Jump Fest. And that was another thing along with the ending. That was really the most interesting thing of the Chainsaw Man Super Stage, was that Fujimoto was like, yeah, I sort of forgot about all of these important plot points and coming back to them now.
So, I mean, even he forgets what's going on because it's just all over the place.
But he does write a very coherent story that really leads into itself later on.
So overall, I think it's fine, 5 out of 10.
All right.
But I think we need to go into a spoiler.
So I think the rest of the episode is going to be spoilers and then our outro. If you want to get slightly spoiled in Chainsaw Man, or you know what's going on, you can listen here. All right. So we gave you your warning. If you're not gone yet, go. So all right.
They're really painting Makima as a villain. They're pushing it.
They are. They're showing, because in the manga it's meant to sort of just be a mystery.
Yeah, because like
what's going on?
I think that's what the manga did well with Makima, is that she's just mysterious. Like when I read it, I knew she was a villain, but they do it well in the manga, and in the anime they're putting it to 11.
They are. And I think we even talked about that in like the first few episodes. It's really made it be out that she is the bad guy.
So it's not necessarily a bad choice, but I do feel like at the same time it's trying. They're kind of babying us along. Hey, this is the villain right here.
So, one quick thing to note. So, next week is, of course, the final episode.
Yep.
And I've got a prediction of where this is going to end, and that's actually where I think it's been going to end the entire time.
The ball kicking contest?
No. So, we are going to have, because really, next thing we should see is Aki having a few flashbacks to Homeno, the easy revenge cigarette, and then Aki killing Ghost. And at that point, we go over Denji versus Katana. We get the ball kicking contest, and I bet you it's going to end because this is where we get the first big scene of Denji's door. We're going to get the scene of Puchita there, and Denji's being like, "Oh hey, don't open the door."
Yeah.
And that's about a perfect 3 chapters away. It'll give enough time to give this Aki stuff some focus, have a comedic moment with Power and Denji in the elevator, and then lead to Denji versus Katana.
Do you think they'll tease Reze at all? Because she's gonna be one of the focal points of season 2.
She will be all next season. Well, the next thing is I really feel like it'll work out well because the next episode will be Denji's date with Makima at the theater.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good first place to open back up with the series.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to tease Reze.
They might tease her at the end of the first episode of the second season. That's probably what they'll do.
But it would make a little bit of sense just to show whenever Dr. Stone season 2 ended, they showed a quick flash of Ryusui.
Yeah,
right. That could build some interest because, of course, Reze is probably one of the most important characters in the series.
And I think even if it's a little too early, they might still do it just to push it along. Because I think Attack on Titan did that a lot.
Just to show her coming in.
They would show something from a whole season later just to get hyped for it.
Because I don't think it can even work any other way. I mean, I think it would really work well if it just has Denji opening the door. It cuts, plays the ending, and maybe just after the ending, we just get a quick 3-second thing of just Reze running or sitting in a flower shop.
Yeah.
That would really work.
I think that would work well.
All right, but with that, it's getting colder, and Jaden's opinion is getting worse and worse. So, we're going to wrap this up.
All right, see you guys.
Yep, see you guys. This is Glowplasma231 out. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz.
Sell out.
Chainsaw Man is sell out. Bye.